Welcome to Exploring the Paranormal. Hosted by Heather Leigh, PhD, Exploring the Paranormal offers a new, fresh look into paranormal research. Join Heather as she discusses some of the many haunted locations worldwide, discusses why these locations are haunted, hear from paranormal researchers about their personal experiences at these locations. Additionally, Heather takes a journey into the science behind the paranormal, discussing topics such as thermodynamics and the Heisenberg principle and how they both affect paranormal activity. Now, your host of Exploring the Paranormal, Dr. Heather Leigh.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this fabulous Tuesday morning. Excuse me. And super excited to be here today. So many amazing things to talk about. And my guests today, the Conner sisters. It's going to be a fun and interesting take on the show. We are going to be talking about all things magic and how magical practices can contribute to the paranormal field. So good morning, Lee. Thank you for joining us. So good to see you here today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. You guys know I'm always open to answering questions, as well as any guests that I have on are always more than happy to answer any questions you guys have. So just put them in the comments and we'll make sure that we get to them during the show. And if we can't, we'll definitely get answered after the show. So basically, I have a few things that I want to talk about. You guys know I like to start the show off in the morning, discussing some of the projects that I have going on and the different things happening. So we'll get started on that in just a minute. And there was something that I had in my mind that I was going to talk about, but that's what it was. I wanted, usually I ask you guys where you're watching from, but I do have a lot of repeat viewers and listeners. So if you have been here before, you can still let me know where you're watching from. Would love it. I love hearing people coming from all across the country and all around the world watching the show. But I also want to know, granted, it's not Monday, but it's still the beginning of the week. I want to know what your plans are for the week. Do you have anything special planned? Are you going on a paranormal investigation? Are you getting out with the family this weekend? Or what your goals are? What do you plan on getting done this week? For me, I know it's going to be my next book that I've been working on. Need to get that done definitely before the end of the month. So this weekend we are going out to, it's one of the forts. I completely am drawing a blank on the fort name, but we're going to one of the forts over out by Tampa Bay. And we're going to be doing some mini investigations and getting some photos for my upcoming book on haunted Florida ghost towns. So we'll definitely be doing that and checking things out. Hi, Paula. Thank you for joining us. Ooh, all the way from Ireland. Love that. And hi, Kelly, Australia. Oh, I love Australia. My dream was to try to move there, but that never really happened. And Lee, yep, you're from the Midwest. I actually grew up in Woodstock, Illinois. I'm not sure if you know where that is, Lee. And a Bigfoot conference. Oh, yes. I definitely need to get to a Bigfoot conference. We have one here in Florida that is amazing, I hear, and I had hoped to go to last year, but never ended up making it. So hopefully this year I can get out to that and enjoy that one. So let's go through my typical morning. Yes, New Smyrna Beach, Florida has a fort. There's several forts throughout here. I noticed when I was writing the book, I was going through one fort after another. But for those of you who are just joining us, I'm Heather Leigh. I have a PhD in paranormal research, and I am an author, lecturer, paranormal researcher, motivational speaker. I do shamanic life coaching, holistic life coaching, and then I also dedicate a lot of my time educating others. I believe that we should all be sharing our experiences and tips, tricks, and ideas, and that we shouldn't hold on to it. So that is one of the reasons why I am always an open book. So like I said, even if we're not live, ask questions on the videos, or you could always send me a message at Exploring the Paranormal Show, which is on Facebook. Or you can also go to at Dr. Heather Leigh, find me there as well. And you can send me your questions. I'm always willing to do that. One example is yesterday I had someone who wanted to talk to me, gave them my phone number. We talked for about 20 minutes, and she just wanted to share her stories, information, and ask a few questions. So I'm always, as long as I have the time available, I always am here to help where I can. For those of you who've been following me, you guys know I've been talking about my books and everything going on. This year is absolutely crazy. I have 4 books I need to finish before Christmas for publications throughout this year and into next year. But I do have already Haunted Southern Nevada Ghost Towns. That book is available. However, due to my appearing on Ghost Adventures last week, it has sold out. On Amazon, I'm not sure if Arcadia Publishing still has any copies, but I have been told that they're making additional copies to send out back to Amazon. But I do have 10 copies on hand right now available to autograph. If you guys would like an autograph copy, it's $21.99 on Amazon. I charge $25, but that includes your shipping. And it also is autographed. So just let me know, send me a message at any of those links, or you could also email me at heather.lee73@gmail.com, and I will send you that PayPal invoice and get that shipped out to you. Ghost and Legends of the Vegas Valley is also out, and that one I checked is still available on Amazon. And I do have 3 copies on hand, same price, $25. If you're interested, let me know, and I can send you an autographed copy. I just finished, I saw the proofs and it looks absolutely amazing. Those of you who follow me on Facebook, you have probably seen the cover. Haunted Florida Lighthouses is on its way to production, and that will be out September 11th of this year. Then the one I'm working on right now, Haunted Florida Ghost Towns, absolutely having fun writing that one. And then we'll also have 3 more books on theme parks, roadside attractions, and Civil War sites here in Florida. So I'm definitely looking forward to all of that information as well, and having a lot of fun doing everything. So Francisco, thank you for joining us. And I'm just catching up. Usually camp every now and then. We have a small boat. Yep. I don't camp, and this... It's not that I love being outdoors, but for me, staying in a campsite overnight just isn't my thing. I really wish it was because of what we do, but I absolutely love getting outdoors, exploring, and sitting by the fire. But I'm the type of person who likes to then pack up and go to the nearest hotel. So yeah, but everybody else I know loves camping, and they keep trying to talk me into it. So I might just have to try doing that sometime soon. Over and would love to chat. So yes, definitely let me know if anyone needs to talk or anything. You guys know where to reach out to me. And some days I'm available immediately, other days it might take me a few hours or even a couple days to get back to you. But trust me, I have a long list, and I'm always doing everything I can to talk to everybody. Just a few more quick updates before I babble on until my guests join us. Ghost Education 101. For those of you who are new to watching, this is a podcast that I have been doing with my co-host Philip Wyatt. We have been doing it since the start of COVID. We work on educating other people. We do videos, we do panel discussions, and we have special guests to talk about experiences and tips and tricks. Tomorrow we actually have a guest, Ron Stokes. He has worked with several he's a demonologist, has worked with several exorcists, and we're going to be talking about different cases he's done, how to identify if it's an exorcist, or if it's a demon, kind of talk about what happens during an exorcism, and give his point of views. And then he has a couple cases that he does want to discuss. Real Haunts Ghost Towns and Real Haunts 3 are now available on Prime for $4.99, but they are still available on Tubi for free. Those are amazing documentaries. We were asked by Motion Picture Video to head out to the different ghost towns and Southern Nevada, which is where I got my book idea from. And we just had a blast. And you can see in the videos, we have fun. I like how they did it. They cover the history of all these different ghost towns, and then brought us in to talk about the paranormal activity and what's happening. So those are 2 amazing documentaries. And actually Real Haunts, the original one, was filmed here in Florida while we weren't in Florida at the time. And Motion Picture Video did a great job with that. I think the first one includes the Tampa Theater and the St. Augustine Lighthouse, which I think the St. Augustine Lighthouse is also featured in Real Haunts 3. So you have that as well. Love you. Oh, I would love to get over to Australia one day. Oh, good morning, Courtney. So yeah, actually, the Sydney Opera House is a location that I would just love to investigate. I don't know if it's available or anything like that, but definitely need to. Australia is definitely on my list of things to do. And of course, I had mentioned Ghost Adventures Lake of Death. I was on that in the beginning. They did a virtual interview with me. That aired Wednesday, and it is now available on Max and Discovery Channel. So if you guys get a chance, check it out. During that, I talked about how the Hoover Dam, if you guys have seen, or if you guys have read I think it was in my haunted, because I cover the Hoover Dam in both of my books that are published, but there are urban legends and theories that the Illuminati were part of the designing of the Hoover Dam, and that it is designed in the shape of Satan's throne. So we talk about that and discuss all the different things on that one. And then this one, I am super excited to announce. I cannot wait. This Thursday at, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. I'm going to have to set an alarm and drink a lot of coffee. Joe's going to keep me awake all night. But Joe and I will be live with our new TV show. For those of you who don't know, Joe Frankie and I do a lot of work together. He trained directly underneath Ed and Lorraine Warren, and we are now going to be doing a show here on WLTK-DB Talk Radio. And we have an amazing, I don't want to spill the beans because I know Joe might be watching if he's still home. But we have an amazing special celebrity guest that will be joining us, and Joe doesn't even know who it is. So make sure you tune in because I cannot wait to see his reaction. But Passport to the Paranormal, we have a lot of different plans. We are going to be talking about our different experiences, dive deep into different cases, as well as talk about different haunted locations. And if everything turns out the way we hope in the future, we will be at different locations when we go live together to discuss our experiences and what is happening at those locations. So tune into that every Thursday. And registration is later this month for the 2 classes that I'm teaching at TMCC. It'll be online. September 25th is the ABCs of Paranormal Research, and October 9th is going to be Ghost Hunting 101. Both classes run from 6 to 9 Pacific. Lee, I wish I could spill the beans, but trust me, you guys are going to want to tune in to see that. If not, at least definitely catch the replays because it's going to be amazing. I know the show's going to be amazing to begin with, but this special guest, the guest is actually looking forward to joining in and being a part of our first show. So it is going to be a lot of fun. And I know when I talked to Joe yesterday, he was like, "Come on, please tell me." But yeah, no, I'm not telling him. So that should be a lot of fun. So let's talk a little bit about different things. I know my guests today are going to be, we're going to be discussing magic and everything. Let me go scroll down to their bio real quick to make sure I get it right. Yeah, they, in 2000, sorry, my dog just bumped my table. In 2010, they founded the Sisters of Salem Society of Paranormal Research. And they're very energetic. Love these two. And they bring happiness to this field because they're always smiling. They're always happy. And I like the fact that they, combine, love the name, by the way, Sisters of Salem. Absolutely amazing. And it's as an only child, and this is a question I'm going to be asking them because as an only child, I can't imagine working with my sibling on a daily basis, but I don't know because I don't have a brother or a sister. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun talking about that and also their experiences using magic and the paranormal. Because not a lot of people, any religion and the paranormal are all closely connected. But using magic is no different than some of the paranormal activity. It's you create spells, you create, different things, and, you self-manifest what comes back to you, which is a lot of things that happen in the paranormal field. We self-manifest, not in all cases, but a lot of cases, we self-manifest what happens to us. Excuse me. And in many cases, not blaming magic because you guys know I practice that. But a lot of cases, paranormal activity occurs and starts or is invited in. Demonic the stages of demonic, various stages occur because someone is dabbling in the paranormal. Not paranormal, dabbling in magic and doesn't know what they're doing. Happens a lot. So there's a big connection between magic. I mean, just let me give one example real quick. I sounded just like him. Yeah, I kind of got Joe down really good. But yeah, one case we were our team, we had a pretty big team in Vegas that I was a part of, and first group went in, and we had known that the daughter had dabbled in witchcraft, not knowing what she was doing. She had bought some books, she had a Ouija board, some pendulums, and a couple different things. And ever since she started using that stuff, activity in the home spiked. And so the first group went in, they came out, and they were 100% dead set that it was demonic and a negative energy. So the next group went in, all, defenses up, ready to go and get things done. And it turned out that it was just a spirit that had always been there. It wasn't anything that she conjured, but it was upset that she was dabbling in this stuff. And just kind of, it tried to take over one of my investigators. This is the one that I talk about where my co-investigator that was there with me, his eyes turned black and just kind of time slipped. I came face to face with a giant shadow figure in the closet, and was I don't know if I was pushed, flipped, tripped, kicked, or I don't know what, but all I know is I went flying and landed on my knees during the investigation. And the more we listened to the evidence that we had, the more we kind of talked about it, it all led to the daughter kind of dabbling in it. She, I don't know if the spirits were upset she was doing it, or if it was just giving them energy to finally do what they wanted to do. But once, don't know really what happened, but once we got all the magical tools out of there, the Ouija board, I think the daughter removed the pendulums and stuff on her own, and the tarot cards. Once those were all removed, the energy kind of subsided, but it was still there. So that kind of led us to believe that it was always there, but the person ended up selling her home. So we weren't able to continue any research or figure out what had happened, because she did end up selling her home. But yeah, it was a very interesting case. And I do believe that the connection there was the daughter's dabbling in magic and witchcraft, kind of not knowing what she was doing, playing around, opening doors, and a whole bunch of different things. And it took my knowledge of the different practices to help cleanse the home and trying to kind of keep that at bay. So, and like you guys have heard me say this, and I know a lot of other paranormal teams say it too, but when it comes time to help a client, you want to make sure that you have someone on your team or someone at the investigation that is either fully knowledgeable of their religious beliefs or is of that religious belief, so that way they can help. Because if, like say I was having paranormal activity, a Catholic priest probably wouldn't do me any good. Just like if it was a Jewish family sending me in to help, probably won't do any good, because I don't know much about the faith. And a pagan ritual might not help them, because they're going to think I'm crazy, type of thing. So make sure that if you are out there helping clients, that you learn about their religious beliefs, discuss in depth, and make sure you help them based on those beliefs. Every religion has some type of rite of exorcism, or like in magic, dispelling negative energies, and it's all there to help and make things better. So yeah, make sure you do that. And if you don't have anyone on your team, or you don't have the experience, it doesn't hurt to reach out to find somebody that does. Excuse me, I'm getting the hiccups. This is awful. There's always, you are going to find somebody, whether it's you go to their church or a local church, or just kind of reach around, or search around and reach and find somebody that can do it. And, if you guys reach out to me, I don't, know every religion. Like for me, I can help with the Catholic religion because I was raised that way, but I know a lot of people in different religions that can help. I know everything from atheists to Satan worshipers to, black magic to white magic. I mean, I know enough people that I can get you guys the help that you need, regardless of what your religions are. Oh, hi, Vanessa. All the way from Minnesota. I hope it's, I don't know, it's been rainy here. So I hope you guys are all having great weather. But yeah, finally we have sunshine. I'm so excited. I'm going to get outside and work on my patio a little bit. And say your name to get rid of the hiccups. I've never tried that before. Yeah, I might. Actually, they went away while I was talking, so I'm not sure what happened. But I'll have to remember that in the future. So now that I've chatted about that, is there anything you guys want to talk about in the 10 minutes that we have before our guest should be joining us? I spoke to, I think it was Ashley this morning, and they're so looking forward to being here. So make sure you guys have your questions ready. Let me just kind of dig through their bio a little bit more to see if there's anything. Okay. Haunting tales. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, even about psychic abilities, mediumship, they should be able to help. They have a book coming out. That's right. She mentioned that to me. Yeah, this is masters skilled at linking their vibrations to give the message that is meant from the other side. So definitely, finally rating there. Yeah, it was interesting. We I think it was Arlene, Tropical Storm Arlene, started to develop in the Gulf, and we got, even though she dissipated within 24 hours, we got a lot of rain here. And it was funny because on one day we got a lot of rain, and then the next day we had a lot of thunder, but not too much rain with that. And then it was like yesterday it drizzled on and off for a little bit, but now we're back to sunny, but we're expecting rain again in 2 days. But I think that's because there's another it's not coming up on my map, but there's another tropical development happening out in the Atlantic. So I think that's going to drop a lot of rain on us. So yeah, we needed it though, but that's this time of year. We get rain every day from 2 to 5 or whatever it is. It's everyone says. So yeah, definitely. I love summer anyway, which is why I love living in Florida. I love the heat, love the warmth. Could do without the humidity, but definitely love it here. And the weather actually is perfect for getting out and exploring, which is all the different fun things that we get to do. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna trying to figure out what fort it was that I was gonna go to. This one, if you guys have a chance to look it up, it looks amazing. Fort DeSoto. And then there's another one, Fort DeSoto and Fort Dade we're going to, because they're both kind of like right next to each other. So that will be a lot of fun. And if you guys haven't been to or seen photos of Fort Dade, it's sorry, I'm kind of looking it up again, but it's very interesting. A lot of abandoned structures, and it is going to be a lot of fun. Oh, hey, Diet. Thank you for joining us today. Happy you're here. I need to actually talk to you because I've been wanting to get you on the show, but I haven't had a chance to reach out to you. So we'll definitely have to be in touch soon and catch up on a few things because it's been a while. Definitely need to do that. Okay, so if you guys have any questions for the Conner sisters, please make sure you get them in the comments. I am going to be bringing them on soon. So you mentioned activity happening. Asking what tarot cards does this happen often or just under certain? Okay. Yeah. No. It's if as long as you know what you're doing, you should be fine. It's all about opening communication to an unseen force. It's I view any type of communication with the spirits the same. It's not that they're all dangerous. It's not that one's more dangerous than another, or one's less dangerous than another. It's you're opening the doors and you're talking to an unseen force. So you don't know who it is. You don't know if it really is, your Uncle Joe, or your Aunt Mary. You don't know if it's a demon. You don't know if it's just a negative energy or just a spirit goofing around. Same thing goes with the pendulum. If you're asking the spirits to move the pendulum, you're asking questions. If you're doing an EVP session, you're asking questions, and spirits view, depending on the spirit, they view it as like someone's talking to me, and especially if you get a spirit that hasn't talked to someone in forever, I describe it as kind of almost get attached to you like a puppy dog. So you run that risk of not properly closing the door, not properly protecting yourself. And the same thing with tarot cards, even though some people just view it as you just shuffle, but you're also tapping into manifestations and energies. So you want to make sure that you are properly protected, properly know what you're doing. And if you don't, reach out to someone who does to train you, offer you tips and tricks. And as long as you do all of that, you can, protect yourself. It's more or less also your intention. If you're doing it for the good for yourself, with no malevolent intention, you should be fine. That's the biggest misconception is with the Ouija board. I have never used one. I don't even own one, but I do own pendulums and pendulum boards. So they're basically the same thing. But I always make sure that I'm grounded, protected. Whoever I'm talking to, even if I'm doing an EVP session, I thank them for talking to me. And I tell them, hey, please leave me alone. Once I leave, as long as you follow my rules, I'll make sure I come back and visit you again. And then I do everything I can to make sure I go back and visit them again. So it's, a whole bunch of different things. So yeah, that is, okay, you're welcome. And if you guys have any other questions related to it, just feel free to ask. And I'm just scrolling through the chats here real quick. And they should be joining us any minute, and looking forward to that. Oh, how'd you do that, Courtney? I know one thing is for those of you who saw when Catherine Sorilos was on, we shared a video of her moving that piece of paper with her mind. I set up something similar to that, and I need to do a video, but would love to hear what happened to you, Courtney. But I put the pendulum and made sure it wasn't, with wind or anything like that. And I actually got the pendulum to move with my mind. So heavier than the piece of paper, but amazing experience. And would definitely love to hear your experience with the pendulum as well. And I can share photos, but I need to make my co-host, Philip Wyatt, for Ghost Education 101. He's put together some really affordable pendulum holders that they take on cases. And I think he said he made them for it was either less than $10 or $20 for each one. And he spray painted them gold, so they look really nice and professional looking, even though it was styrofoam and dowel rods. So I have the photos for those, so I'll share them on Exploring the Paranormal show and at Dr. Heather Leigh, and get those out to you guys so you can see them. But I think I'm going to get the stuff for myself later this month and make a video on how to do that. So, and that's the good news is later this month, I am upgrading a whole bunch of different things. I will be doing more videos, one-off videos that are only like 2 and 3 minutes long for YouTube. So you guys don't have to listen to me for 2 hours, chat away. And kind of just sharing tips and tricks. I'm going to show you guys how to for those of you who were around when I did Touch of Magic, I still do some videos for her, but she's had to take a break. And I talked to her yesterday, and Touch of Magic will be probably relaunched along with the Witches Paranormal Society. So I'm super, super excited to be doing those with Marissa. And we'll be doing more videos similar to that on my Facebook page or on my YouTube page, where I show you guys how to make the different sage sprays that I make. I talk about different paranormal entities, and each segment is just one entity. I share different, like an herb of the day. I did a lot with rose and cinnamon and bay leaves and everything like that. So that I'm looking forward to getting up on. That was something I forgot to mention. So yeah, so make sure you guys stay tuned. There is so much planned and so many amazing guests that I have planned. Real quick, before we go take a break, while we're waiting for the sisters to join us, I can run through who I have planned coming on here. And I'm like super, super looking forward to, I can't believe I'm booking out as far as I have been. And Ghost Education 101 is actually booked out for almost the entire year. We're booked up through October, and then we're going to be taking December off. So, but real quick, for my Tuesday morning show, you guys can join us next week for Natalie Crater. We're going to be talking about all things paranormal and her experiences. And I have the fabulous Joe Frankie coming back on June 20th. Dr. Father Kenneth Torres will be joining us on June 27th. I have my producer, Todd Bates, will be joining me on July 4th to talk about his experiences and his book, The Haunted Voice. July 11th, C.L. Thomas will be joining us. July 18th, I have Jeff Schlachter. He is an amazing guest. He joined impromptu one day to cover for someone who couldn't make it, and he is coming back. Make sure you join for that one. That one is comedy at its best. When I do that. On July 25th, I have Howard Petrie. He hosts many, many podcasts. And then him and his organization are doing Fear Fest 2023 in New Orleans. We're going to be talking about that, as well as his nonprofit charity organization that he is raising money for. We'll talk about that. Philomena Thomas will be rejoining us to discuss advancements in the Hatman Project and find out where they're at. August 8th, Stephanie Bradley will be joining us. August 15th is going to be the fun one. I have two special guests. I know Lee is going to be one of them, and I forgot to write down the other guest name, so I'm sorry if you're watching, but I do have your name saved in my email to include you in the show. But we are going to have paranormal experiences by non-paranormal investigators. And then August 22nd, we have Nicole Ray back to talk about her upcoming projects. I know she's written several books lately and is doing that. So definitely. Yes, and it's your birthday. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to have a cake for you. And we'll virtually enjoy the cake together. So with everything being said, I hope you guys are enjoying the show so far this morning. I know my guests haven't arrived yet, but right after this commercial break, we will be back to continue chatting about the paranormal, and hopefully they'll be here soon. So we'll see you guys in just a few moments.
Have fun for a great cause at the Broadhead Manor fundraiser July 1st, 2023. Help save the roof and restore this iconic building to its natural state. There will be a silent auction, raffles with your chance to win some amazing prizes, like psychic readings, and books by authors Chad Lewis, Todd Bates, and Christina Bloom. Attire from Expedition Entity and We Are Paranormal, and more. Join the fun July 1st at Broadhead Manor from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Bring the whole family. There's face painting and games for the kids, and vendors, psychics, food, and more for the adults. Broadhead Manor, where numerous spirits call home, located in Broadhead, Wisconsin. For more information, find them on Facebook.
Hey everyone, we are back for Exploring the Paranormal on this fabulous Tuesday morning. And real quick, that commercial reminded me of something. So as soon as I talk about this, we'll bring my guests on. But events, paranormal events. One question I get all the time, or I've even heard the statement, I shouldn't have to pay to play. kind of thing. I don't know if any of you guys have heard that statement too, but when it comes to these paranormal events, 9 times out of 10, it's to help raise money for different locations, just as that video showed. If you guys watched Ghost Education 101 a couple weeks back, we had Steve Dills and Chris Vaughn on from Transcend Paranormal talking about the work that they've done and how to set up a paranormal fundraiser. And it's, if you go have fun, help support the venue, help support a small paranormal team, and get these historical sites renovated and updated, get them the money they need. I know there's a lot of locations that I'm going to be working with, and 100% of the profits, of course, will pay for the different expenses we've had to pay for. But 100% of the profits will be going back to the location for repairs, renovations, and even to pay their staff to keep the place open, pay their electric bills. And when you're there too, if they have a gift shop, I know a lot of people roll their eyes at locations that have gift shops. Go buy a shirt, go buy a mug, buy something, because that money does go back to the organization to help keep the property up and running so more investigators can get to and enjoy experiences as well. So with that being said, I am super excited to have my guest today, the Conner sisters. You guys heard me talk a little bit about them before we went to break, and I cannot wait to get them here and start asking the questions we have. Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good. We are doing great. You get in here.
Good. I told everybody you guys would join with a smile.
The hardest part of this whole thing is getting us lined up with this camera. I don't know.
I figured you guys would be on 2 different cameras, but this works perfect.
Oh, yeah. We thought we'd hit that with one. Yep.
All the internet's up in this house. I mean, I could go to a different room, or maybe if we had a house, I think that would be delightful. I just said out.
No. That's perfectly fine. It's funny because whenever I do shows, whenever they have a co-host or a guest with me, we're in 2 different states, so we're always on different screens.
Oh.
So I don't have the luxury of working right next to someone that I work with.
Oh.
But super excited to have you guys here. Love the fact that you guys are sisters and work together, because I was talking earlier about how I'm an only child, so I don't know how that would work because I hear horror stories of siblings. So
Well,
We got a few.
we're Southern, so they get us to hide that behind, closed doors. You got to keep that at home.
Yep.
If people only knew.
Yeah. the Southern belle out in the public.
Yes, very much so.
Exactly. Trust me, I was born in Virginia, so I know.
There you go. You understand. We
Yep.
could be crazies, but it's got to be in the house.
All right, exactly. So one thing I do want to start off, I did read a little bit of your bio. Absolutely impressed with it. Love your Sisters of Salem. Love that name.
Good Salem, not the good Salem. It's always Salem, Virginia. I'm like, we in that little town, we're the ones that do magic. Everybody
Right.
else does meth.
But still, it's a great name.
Thank you.
It's still perfectly a great name.
Yeah.
But do you guys mind telling everybody a little bit more about yourselves and what got you into the paranormal field and doing what you do?
You want to hit it? Thank you. Okay. So we grew up and we watched way back when for the Ghost Hunters. It was I think it was Fear. Was it Fear?
I'm not for sure on that.
God, I don't even remember what it was, but they actually went to a haunted location, and it was the really bad camera angle, and they were snotting and stuff like that. And we were like, oh, that's pretty cool. We were always interested in the paranormal, but being Southern, that is a terrible sin to talk to ghosts or anything like that.
Yes.
So we were not able to do that whatsoever. But we were like, oh man, let's go. Well, Misty ran a paper out, and we were like, you know what? Let's go to this graveyard. Because, back then you're like, well, there's a lot of dead bodies out there. Somebody's got to talk. So we went to a graveyard late at night on a paper route. Somehow cops apparently had intuition that this is the night we were going to hit that graveyard. And we went to the graveyard and Misty was driving. So I was like, oh, I can't afford a ticket. So I acted like I was sleeping when the cops swarmed us to tell us you're not allowed in a graveyard late at night. So I was like, what y'all doing? She's like, nothing. I'm delivering papers in a graveyard.
I was. They were just not people.
They're behind on their news in the graveyard.
So down the street at this, or meet me at the street, or meet us at this church down the street. And it sounds sketchy as crap, but he's a cop,
Yeah.
so you listen anyways.
Yeah.
So we go down there, and he puts a piece of chalk in. He's like, you know, they got like groups for ghost hunting, right? And then that's when I woke up, because I was like, stuff's getting sketchy, you know. So he actually told us, and we were part of the first. They had already started a, you know, Virginia Paranormal Society or whatever, but we were actually involved with that. And then we broke off because we wanted to give the girl power.
Yep.
And that's when we got Sisters of Salem. But along the paranormal journey, we kind of realized, wait a minute, because again, if you're in the South, you have no gifts whatsoever. You are not, no, that's a sin, this and that and the other. So we kind of always pushed it aside and thought it was funny little coincidences. And then it got to the point to where it was undeniable that, you know, we have gifts. So we started honing those in to do for the public. So...
And so then that's when it kind of became, especially when our grandfather passed, he came to both of us in dreams and things like that. And we could not wait to get up to tell each other. We were like, Granddaddy came and visited us. And at that time, we were very skeptic. Like, if you had met us a long time ago, we'd be like, oh no. Because our grandmother would be like, if you wait long enough, there's an answer for all these things that happen. And we just kind of, once that happened, and we found out during his dreams that he came to us, we found out who actually did the crime. It was somebody in our family. He was showing us all these things. And when we would go to court, then, because there was also a court case that was involved with when our grandfather passed, the times that he showed us in the dreams and the things he showed us in the dreams were discrepancies they were fighting in court that we had no idea about. So when this started happening, we were like, man, we might really have something. So then we started digging in our lineage. We took so many years off and just practiced on ourselves and did things for ourselves. That's when we did tarot cards. That's when we started doing readings. We went down to this house, Nickerson Sneed, and the owner, every weekend we were there. So we pretty much lived in this notoriously haunted location, and we had to deal with these spirits. And when we did, that honed us really quickly. And then we went on the road, and then we started doing seance and gallery readings and readings for the public. And then we really dug into our lineage, because we couldn't understand how everybody in our family was kind of okay with it if we talked about it in a certain way, because we are in the thank you, I couldn't get it out, anyway. You're in the Bible Belt. So it was like, if you called yourself a healer or you did things good, then that's all right. But if you were to, the only thing that is the difference between a witch and a healer is they believe that a witch will curse you and a healer will not. We have the same power. It's the universal. It really is. So my dad, when we dug into our first book, we were asking all of our family these questions, because we found out we were wart witches in our family. And then it was really crazy. We were like, how could we be this? But y'all are so, no, that's of the devil. That's this. And our dad at Christmas was like, because if we had said we were witches, or they had said, they would have been hung. But you could be a healer in these mountains. So that's pretty much what an Appalachian witch, we come out proudly as that. Appalachian witches now, but every holler is different down here. Every course of magic is different, but it all gets to the same means. And it's really crazy in that, because you'll find that they're two sides of the same coin, but I have to pick my words very carefully so that people don't go out and get their pitchforks.
I know when you guys were talking, the only thing I could think of at the moment is, have you seen The Waterboy? Bobby Boucher's mom.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like to think that I'm what's her name? God, she played as Nancy. I like to think I'm her out here in the South. So, yeah.
100%. I'm Bobby Boucher's mama. I got a point. I'd be like, she's a devil. Even though I'm practicing witchcraft, she's the devil.
But yeah, I could just see people doing that. I mean, I always here in Florida, I always kept what I, did secret, because I mean, every corner there's a Catholic church.
Yes.
And it wasn't up until about 5 years ago where I openly, and I was raised Roman Catholic until high school when I decided to switch over. And it's, here you didn't, I mean, even now still people are hesitant.
It is so crazy like that. Like, understand that, it's not all, as soon as you take that term or you start going this little way, it's really self-empowered. Us, I still believe in God. I say I'm almonistic because I believe there's truth in every religion, because they're all kind of similar. But reality, I, in my way of thinking, think it's like more of an intense form of praying to me.
Mhm.
It is.
And it's kind of like I have power in my own life, because in the South it is God's going to do what he wants you to do. Don't, like, there's certain, like, Misty grew up in one church. We grew up like two different churches, right?
I grew up
Hers, yeah.
Pentecostal.
So Pentecostal is you can't wear makeup, you can't be flashy, you have to wear a skirt, your hair has to be, you don't cut your hair, things like that. Me over here, it was all Jesus loves you, just color this picture. And I'm like, yay! You know, so,
You're lucky you got that part, because I was waking up peeing in the bed thinking of brimstone and hell. You know what I'm saying?
You guys are hysterical. I love it. I had a few more questions. I'm trying to find my sheet here on my computer. Where'd it go? Okay. Oh, this is one question I get asked a lot, especially from people who don't understand witchcraft, magic, and all those things, is how does magic fit with the paranormal field?
Oh, forget it.
Okay, in the paranormal field, it's always so crazy because people will be out there searching for ghosts, which is technically kind of a supernatural, like you physically can't see it. You physically can't see magic as well. You can use magic and for ghost hunts as a protection. You can do it as more of an intense way of trying to communicate with spirits. And there's so many facets that you can go into witchcraft, and they kind of go hand in hand. I mean, at Halloween time, you'll see fake ghosts out. You'll see witches out. I mean, they're pretty close together. I'd like to think they're on the same sailing time, you know. So, why do you think that you can put?
Well, this is the crazy part. Like I said years ago when we started down this path, it was very taboo for a paranormal group to have a psychic. Remember that? It was one side was metaphysical, one side was more scientific. If we could call any of this really truly scientific, I know we have devices and stuff, but there's still an element of no one knows what's on the other side of the veil. We're mediums. We talk to stuff over there, but I can't tell you 100%. I don't know what's going to happen when none of us go over there. So it's kind of crazy how people get super intense and they're like, this is the way it's got to be. But who told you that? Who really? I think everybody has a different belief system. So when they go on the other side, right, it's going to be a little bit different for everybody. So it used to be really taboo. You don't have a psychic. You don't have a medium. You are scientific, and that's metaphysical. Then me and Ashley like really developed our gifts. We come back and we're like, everybody's got a psychic on their team. What in the world? But it was amazing because I think that was the missing piece of the puzzle. A lot of times I have met psychics who are not witches, and I have met witches who are not psychics. But sometimes if you could get one that is the both, and you're making that communication and you're using that bridge of magic, she can protect, or he can protect your group. He can tune in to other energies, because that's what we do, right? As witches, as psychics, as whatever, we tune in. We are in more cohesiveness with the energies that are around. Energies, it translates into ghosts. It made very much so sense when I was like, hot darn, y'all are finally coming in and realizing mixing both of these will be very beneficial. We have been on a case before, and this is so funny. Well, we were hosting an event. Somebody had brought us in as, I hate to say talent or what, the ghost investigators or whatever. Yeah. But we also were psychics, so we would read the room, and there was this lady. We were on the second story, and the place has been demolished. I think now it's 202, like the paranormal something, and oh gosh, I can't remember.
Okay.
But
it's in the middle of nowhere.
It was a very small town, and I think the lady has since demolished the place or something. But we went to the second floor, and people don't understand, when you communicate with spirits, sometimes they can move faster than what you think they are. Like if I got somebody who is just right on and I can understand their thoughts, they tend to move in the same realm that we do, right? Like their movements are just like ours and stuff. If there's somebody who's unhinged or a little bit mentally off, they're pretty fast because their energy's on a different level. So there was a lady all the way at the end of the hall, like a lady I was seeing in my third eye, right? I was communicating with, and I saw her and she looked so sad. And all of a sudden she was on me very quickly, and I could feel her energy. And of course she braced and stuff because she was mentally unstable. And I got that very quickly, how fast she ran and rushed at me. And I said to everybody, I was like, something's going on these stairs. Y'all need to be careful when you go up here. I can hear that intent, right? So everybody was single file going up these stairs and stuff like that. And all of a sudden I get this friend that comes to me and she's like, oh my God, I'm so glad you said that. So I went up the stairs and then the two was going right behind me. And all of a sudden this candelabra fell off and almost knocked them out down the stairs and everything. And they were like, holy crap, you were right about this. And it's like the energy's on the other side. If we can tap into those, we can actually help our group. She had to sit out pretty much the rest of the time. That was one of our friends. She was like, I'm done with this. This is crazy. But use that aspect. If you got somebody on your team or something like that that's willing to really be part of that, use it, man, because it's going to help you in the long run. Plus, she can do you little trinkets and stuff to protect you and everybody or enhance you. So yeah, that's a good attribute.
My thing is, like, I get so much more. I mean, back in the day when we were trying to be, scientific, if you want to put that air quotes in there, and we had our little notebooks and our little, recorder, and we're running around trying to catch stuff.
Listen, people still do that.
I know, but I'm talking about us. That one single recorder, they pay a lot of money for a lot of other stuff.
Yes, they do.
I'm saying now it is for all we have back in is a recorder and a prayer. That's all.
That is true.
Back then, but now this is where I was going with that. I'm thankful because when I got out of the game, we started putting a lot of money in equipment. And I'm like, good God, y'all even know, like, and now there's so much fun stuff. And I'm like, shoot. But I realized when I had the recorder and we start buying that different equipment that would talk back to you, you're really sitting in the room and talking to the equipment. You're not getting the physical experience of what's going on. So that's where I was going with that. You make it sound like I'm making fun of my what?
No. Well, and it's funny because I'm trying to push the field to be more scientific in the aspect of not it being a pseudoscience. And but I'm one who I don't like all the equipment. I go in with a digital voice recorder and a video camera. And I do have a spirit box because I do attend events. And of course, the people who attend want immediate gratification.
Yeah.
But I don't use it on a regular investigation. I use the non-tech tools, dowsing rods, pendulums. I use a fidget spinner. Because it works so great.
That's
I love my non-tech tools, and and it's all about documenting and what gets interactions.
Like I really turn into something that I shouldn't be on these investigations. Like if you put me out there and you're like, Misty and Ashley, go read this house. Now I have my pen and paper and I'm writing down everything that I'm getting. But you put something that will talk to me in front of me, I literally become, I'm like, Lassie, Tammy went down the well. Like, I just get so immersed.
Lord have mercy. I don't know, for me, when I go into a location, I have not a hard time, but when you have a lot of people that have a lot of energy and you're with a group, it's harder for me to hone in on the spirits that are not embodied, as in, rather go through the room, not have my cell phone or anything like that, and have the room dark, and I can feel like I physically put my hand to try to figure out what's in there. And it's like the ghosts don't want to be around the crowds.
They don't. And
you get more when you can just focus in on what's there. But I equipment and lights, I'll be like, look at that. Look at that. Like the one, I don't even know what they're called now, but glow sticks or not glue, it's like glue sticks that stick out. And I'm like, look at that thing. And I'm always like, I won't focus in on ghosts or anything. I'll be like looking at their stuff. I'm like, how much you pay for that thing?
It does distract more than anything else. It's very, very interesting. And getting on the ghost, it's like, that's the one thing that I always tell people is don't trespass to investigate, but don't go for these places that have been over investigated, like Waverly or anything like that. Try to find locations, like we found a cute little museum out in Nevada when I lived out there for a few years, and it had never been investigated, but I volunteered there for other purposes, and we found out it was haunted. And when we would investigate there, it would be activity like crazy because the spirits had no one to talk to because no one ever came out and tried to. So I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you experienced the same thing or something similar.
I was going to let you go.
Well, my theory on this is a little bit different because I believe people believe places are haunted, but truly everybody on the element that we work with, everybody has ancestors. Everybody has spirits around them. So just because one place is haunted or whatever, you deem it as haunted, everything's haunted. That's the way I think. I'm like, if you have somebody who could tap into that, then everything can be haunted. And then
Right.
if you find that you keep moving from location to location and nobody else is getting activity, but you're getting that activity, then maybe you're haunted. Maybe you're like that medium of the situation. It's not really the locations. But I will tell you this, what you're saying about, we have went to St. Albans, for an example.
Mhm.
We were the first group to ever go into St. Albans. When they opened it up for the public. Now think about this, like how many groups have went through here. When they first opened it up, we were the first paying group to be there. It was a lot different than it is now. When people go to see St. Albans and Radford, they have done some amazing work, but the spirits there are different. They
Mhm.
were more interactive, I believe. They were more, I'm not going to say aggressive, but they were more responsive. Now, not that it's not haunted. I mean, it is very much so. But it's like the spirits understand where to go to get away from people. They understand, they understand all these little, because it's been ran through so much, and it's still a beautiful place and stuff. But us being able to experience it right when nobody else had,
Mhm.
completely different. So I agree. Like all these bigger places, I don't know. I still love it. Don't get me wrong, but we were really fortunate to be able to see the difference that you're saying
Mhm.
there. There is a
Right.
big, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that like I do think that once you got like 20 million people in there, it's like going through the bus station. Why would this go stop and talk to you
Yeah.
if you have so many people there? So if I've gotten more responses when I'm there after hours and I'm by myself, I've got the shit scared out of me. I'm like, oh God, they're hot. Like, you can feel
Yes.
them around you, and they're like, you know what, you need to get the hell out of here too. Like they're
They're
like,
you're
like,
stepping on our time now.
it's like they have a certain curfew time. So when there's not a lot of people around, I get that, like closing time up. I've also got like if you establish like a relationship with the spirits there, as in
Yes.
if you're always there, then they're more
Mhm.
likely to go to you. Just like if you always go to a certain place, you're going to start developing friends there. But
Mhm.
I agree with you too, like going to places that haven't been not necessarily ever done, because I love all establishments or things like that, but to get that relationship, because everything's haunted now. If there's some sort of bad history or something like that, and
It
I'm
didn't even
happy
have
for
to
it,
be that.
yeah.
It didn't even have to
Mhm.
be that.
But
Yeah.
like it's more like you want to come through the ghost tour, because things like that. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I can't say I wouldn't. If there was a nice location, it had a haunted history, I'd be opening it up too. So
Yeah.
I totally.
Yeah, it always makes me wonder if the spirits are like, oh crap, they're coming again, and then they pack their bags and move on to another location.
Yeah.
I think they hide, definitely.
Yeah.
I think they're like, okay, let's get in this corner. This is my corner. You get out. Like they're, you know what I'm saying? Like you could definitely feel them, which is kind of neat. But isn't it weird? I mean, because we've all been in this field for a long time, and isn't it weird how when it first started out, we were lucky to find a place. We were like, wow, these places. Now something happened, something switched where people were like, wow. I think Ghost Hunters had a lot to do with it coming on TV, but
Yep.
still ridicule. But then when they realized how I really truly believe profitable sometimes places, people were like, wow, we could really do this. I know so many people who started out in this field, just regular investigators, now own a property, now doing these things. And it's just crazy. Like you couldn't find anything anywhere when we first started. It was hush hush. It was like, why are you doing that? Now it's like normal.
Right.
Families, they do outings. It's kind
Mhm.
of good though. I like to see that.
I like it because it's preserving the history and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no, it used to be edgy and oh my God, you do that? Ooh. Now it's like, yeah, let's go do this on the weekend. It's like, it's gotten very, not like it's anybody would do it now. Before you get your black t-shirt on.
That's
You
important.
had,
That's
you
important.
had to make months in advance, and you had to be like, okay, I got to ask my weird friends to all pay in to get there this night, and that was pretty much your vacation. Now it's just like, hey, you want to go get pizza and go, you can wear whatever color you want.
Actually, y'all, I saw, and God, every black like t-shirt group, please don't hold this against me, but it was so fun. We were at an event this past weekend and everybody showed up and all these groups were there and it was like a family. And then there was one group that was in front and they were all like, and they had the black t-shirts on and they were all like masks on.
Yeah.
I was like, look at them. And I actually pointed
our names on it and our little S.O.S. Ashley, in case you couldn't figure that out. Like,
we were, but it's so crazy how it's developed. You know, it's that's what you had to do. You had to have the black T-shirts. You had to have this and that. And you had to have it was almost like you had to hold yourself at a certain esteem because you were doing this and this. And I don't know. We didn't do well at that because we have a very funny humor. People don't like that. You're supposed to be all serious. We were like, well, we gotta go, guys.
Nope. People. This field is weird. I don't know if you guys have noticed the change, but I've been doing this for 35 years. And I had started off just on my own doing research of the locations, trying to figure out, back at the library where you're having to go through the card catalog to get the information. And I was always, my parents supported me, but anytime we would take a vacation, we would drive to like Williamsburg, Charleston, and then we'd go to Gettysburg. That was our family summer vacations because my dad loved going to Civil War sites. Yeah. But I'd be there searching for, the ghost tour, who's the local historian. And that's how I met Mark Nesbitt up in Gettysburg and learned. Here I am, a teenager asking him 101 questions. But he kind of gave me my beginning. He took the time and answered them all.
That's another thing too. Like you were mentioning that gentleman who helped you out in the beginning and stuff like that. In the beginning, it was a lot of that. You had to help each other because it wasn't like that. And this is going to date me a lot, but there wasn't a lot on the internet as much as it is now. Right. So we had to do that digging. We had to like get out there and do these things, and then maybe write our own stuff and stuff like that. But it word of mouth, and to find somebody who would mentor you or something like that, that meant the world. Now I come out and I'm like, y'all don't know Jim Bob? Like, I'm thinking, that everybody know, and then to see so many people leave the field because it does change. We've got so many new people. Back in the day, being in a group, we had to try out. We had to have a written test. We had to have a field test. We had to have all these things. And then they were like, okay, we're still on a 90-day. And then we're going to see if we're going to bring you on this group. Super intense, right? Yep. Now you could just be like, you just get together and be like, okay, we're a group now. And it's like a double-edged sword for me on that, because I love that there's more people in the field, but also I guess the scientific person in me, I'm thinking, okay, where's your controlled situation? Where's this situation? Because that's how we were brought in, right? Yep. But then I'm just like, well, who am I to say how somebody should run it? But if we're going to take it from a pseudoscience to a regular science, that is a big difference there. That's a big jump. And I would love to see that, actually. But then we get into who's qualified to do it and who's not qualified. And that's a whole situation of then who would decide that. So this is, that's a lot, ain't it? My mind ran, and I was like, Lord, this is so Lord.
We definitely need to work together to get this to be a science.
Yes.
And you had brought up go ahead.
I said, I vote you, ma'am, because it's too much for me. I got exhausted thinking about it.
You had brought that was one of the reasons.
Oh no. I hope our internet's good. How do we refresh? Oh no. Okay. Keep chatting. We'll get back. Okay. Must have been on her end. Oh no. We're coming in. Oh no. Like we're both just staring at the. Hold on. Oh no. Us? I don't think it's us. Is it us? Are we the drama? No.
I can hear you guys, but I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you now. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
there you go. There you go.
Todd says it's me.
Man, shit, they were like, they ain't ready for that. We gotta shut
down. But one thing I was saying is that you guys had mentioned the internet and how information is readily available there. One thing we noticed, which is why we started Ghost Education 101 on Wednesday nights, is a lot of it was false or misleading. Have you guys come across that a lot, I'm assuming?
Yes. We actually, because we we had to get books. We had to get all sorts of stuff to train ourselves. And we're both Capricorns, so that does not help. But if we find, and we'll go around people and we'll be like, I personally back off, because I don't want it. Where's it my position to try to change somebody? Because there's people out there who will fight you over false information. And the field that so when we shifted to more of the psychic element and stuff, I just tried to guide, but not push, because they're going to have to come to them terms that you're going to have to do a little bit more digging than this. Right. But getting them upset to the point where they're going to stick their ground and they're going to fight it till the end, there's no benefit in either one of that. So there has to be I wish there was some place, like for us. Okay, an example of that. This is the paranormal we're talking about, but even in witch talk, there is so much. Like if you go on TikTok, everybody has become an expert in a lot of things. Ghost hunting, being a witch, being a psychic, and they give this false information, and then people will fight to the ends over it. So there has to be, in my mind, there has to be something to regulate, to say, but that's where it gets intense, and I'm just gonna I bail back, because I'm like, how do you do that? Right. Because at the end of the day, this is a hobby, and in that thing with these people, it is a hobby. So how can you tell somebody who spent all their money and maybe on their vacation, you're doing this wrong? So it is so horrible. I hate, there's so many lines that you have to cross to, I don't know. What do you think about this? I don't know. This is perplexing.
I'm lucky because people don't show me their evidence anymore. And I'm very lucky. And how I used to feel when I would set up for the ghost things and I would have our little S.O.S stuff and things like that, they would always come and show me their evidence. Yeah. Me being the Southern nice lady, it would be kind of like a kid from kindergarten showing me their macaroni thing.
You are so evil.
I'm like,
I like that analogy. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, what are you saying that? Oh yeah. I don't want to take away from their experience. Right. And I feel like that's path. If they were out there and they had a good time and maybe they had a personal experience, and maybe in this photo they might have something that I wouldn't necessarily deem as evidence. And it's very hard to get ghost evidence, things like that.
Yeah, people have been looking for it, forever. Yeah.
So I'm just like, you sure did. You sure did. I'm kind of like that, because I don't want to take away from people's experience, because they are coming to me with their best thing ever, and it's really you see their face so light up, and they're just like, look at it. And I'm like, it is.
It's like when somebody gives you an ugly baby and you're like, look at that baby. You can't say it's ugly, can't say it's pretty, but you're like, look, that's a baby right there. Look at it.
Yeah. I've had a lot of awkward situations that I'm just like, I'm hoping my Botox is up to point right now, because I don't want to be like,
I know when I was at an event here in Orlando, someone came to me and she showed me her orb photos. And I don't think I said that's fascinating more than in my life.
Yeah. I wouldn't come forward with it, like I said, but I'm just like, well, and that's one thing that me and never came forward with our evidence and stuff, because I'm like, there would always be somebody that, regardless of what we thought, they would discredit it. Right. And it was kind of like back in the day, it was whose evidence was better. No way, this is, and it would be like him smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, and all the
it would be like that, and it would be all rough and stuff. But it was just so. I was like, we are not taking out our evidence unless they ask for it.
Yeah, if they come to us scientific and they say, okay, can we see it, then I would show you, and I would let you listen to all these EVPs and what systems I've ran it through and all this stuff, and I would tell you all that. But there was a lot of bullying at one point. So I don't know if there still is.
It still is.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're talk to us. They're just like, that's a lost cause. Just go on.
But we don't people don't, we have some great people who promote us. You mentioned Steve, Dill, and Chris. We love them.
Yes.
Steve does events and he has us there. And it's so funny because he told another event person, they were like, well, I noticed when it's time to investigate and stuff, the girls I don't think they really want to. And Steve's like, yeah, let's not use them in that way because that's not their best qualities. Get them a gallery reading, get them this is what they're going to do. And he tries to give them like, but we do enjoy like, I
don't like big groups ghost hunting.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, everybody in there, somebody's going to have a booger hanging and it's going to be whistling like a mother. And they're just going to be sitting there whistling with their boogers. And then you're going to be like, someone needs to clear their nose. And they never clear their nose. So you're just like, God, how am I supposed to say, blow your damn nose, over there. And then somebody's going to fall asleep. Their leg's going to be shaking. It's going to make.
Do you want to know why this irritates you? Because you are that scientific.
I am, yeah.
So we got to back up.
If I put my black t-shirt on, y'all better shut the hell up. That's just what I'm saying. I want to be the only person in there for me to experience it. And then if there's a sound, I want to get up and make sure it's not a rat or anything like that. It's hard when
it's
large
so old
groups,
school.
it's horrible.
So old school. I've just realized
it's hard with large groups. And then like, because when you work for a location, they're like, well, you can't tell them what to do and you can't tell them, no, that's not evidence. When you work for a location, they're like, just show them around and you just assist them. That's all you do, because you're going to be taken away from their experience. So that's not my thing, man.
So we have great people that are around us that do these things, and we show up and we help them, guide them and stuff like that. Like, there's a ghost over there, go get them.
Sick them. There's been pictures of Misty. That's okay. Steve got us to help and assist people. There's a picture of Misty because we were like, okay, I know they ain't gonna come back here in this room because it was some little library, and I was like, come back here and we could take a nap. So Misty goes back there and she falls asleep on this really mini child chair.
It was a
and her legs were spread.
And I had shorts on, and I was just like, it was crazy. And they were like, wow, look at that. That's what you get.
And we would hide in certain places to sleep.
But on our behalf, Steve gave us a handler, and he said, go them girls to take care of them. So we said the best way you could do it is get us a nap. We've traveled a long way. So he would stick us in little places, and it was really cool. So that's what we do now. Unless we pay our own money and we say, okay, this is not an event that we are going to be a guest at. This is not an event that they have us working at. Because when we show up to these things, we work on the other end of it, like the spirit communication. That's what we do. So it's very exhausting for us. But if we come out of pocket and we're like, we are going to go to this location, things get a little bit different then. Then we are more of, we do like to get away, probably just a very small group, just to experience that location. But we have some really great handlers. Let me just tell you, they are like, these ladies are crazy. They're giving us all they got, and they're the big gun. They're the ones that do the investigating part.
Steve and Chris are great. I mean, I haven't had a chance to work with them in person, but I've worked with Steve. He was part of Ghost Education 101 for quite a bit of time before he had other projects he started working on. And he comes back quite often. I think we just did a couple weeks ago a presentation, and he did it on how to host an event and make it a fundraiser for these haunted locations.
He's really, really, really good at that. And that's something I respect in him. When we all sat down and we're like, okay, let's do this event and stuff, he breaks it down to a point of what's going to make them money, what's going to help the location, what's going to make the public feel like it's a good I mean, there's so many aspects. So when he calls and we talk about business, it's we are jokes a lot. Don't get me wrong, but when it gets down to business aspects, we want to have the best product out there for anybody. And not the best product, but we want to give it our best. Let's put it that way. So try to, there's a lot that goes into hosting these events and stuff, and making sure you just want to make sure that the public, if they're paying their money to support these locations, that when they walk away, whether they've had a reading by us, whether they've had a great investigation, that they think, gosh, that was money well spent. That's the way I think.
Yeah, exactly. And you also, of course, like you said, you want to raise money for the location, but the last thing you need is for someone to leave. And I mean, if someone has a great experience, they might just post it on Facebook once, but if someone has a bad experience, they're telling everybody.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
they are. Yes, and
Yeah.
it's just, and that would kill me. I think if we gave it our heart and we did the best we could. And I know everybody is not going to be satisfied. There's going to be that one person, or, you know. But if you really tried your best and you just wanted to make, because I'm harder on myself of, even with my clients, my biggest issue is one day my gifts don't work and I can't give them what they expect of me. That
Mhm.
would kill me. And that's one of my fears. I've told a lot of people about that. Like the closest people to me, we have a lady that travels with us, and she's like our handler pretty much. She lines everybody up for readings. She gets all this stuff together that we do, and even helps us sell our merchandise. She pretty much just gets us in a row, getting us going. Um, that I tell her that I'm like, if people knew how hard I was on myself, that I don't want to disappoint them. So even in that, you know, and I sat with her after every event, and I'm like, how could I have done that better? How could I have done better for the, and I think whether you're doing it on our end, which is a psychic, which is a medium, which is a witch, which whatever, or you're doing these investigations, it's kind of like you got to have a check and balance. You got to have somebody who's going to be real to you, to say that was a shit show and we're going to have to pick it up next time. You have to have that, you know, because you want, if you're trying to save some of these locations, you have to be able to provide for those locations, because
Mhm.
the doors would shut on some. I don't think people understand. People who don't want to pay a certain amount, I get it, but the doors would shut on a lot of locations, big locations, if they
Mhm.
didn't have the support of all these great people and teams around them. That's the truth.
Yep, exactly. And that's what, I've always heard from people, I shouldn't have to pay to play. And it's like, I don't
That
even know how to answer that half the time. It's like, well, how, how does this place keep the lights on? It's, we were in Southern Nevada when I heard that. I'm like, okay, it's the middle of summer. You're really going to go to this location with no air conditioning? How do you think they keep that running?
Yeah.
Thank you. Or that just surprises me. We used to hear that a lot back in the day, because I find personally that those type of people are the ones that do the private cases,
Mhm.
because they feel that they can still get that and they're helping someone. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that want that helping aspect. Long time ago, before we were in the field we're in now, and we were just investigators and stuff, we shut that down because it was just me and her showing up to these locations. And one time there were people that got in touch with us and said, hey, this lady is trying to get everybody to come to her house and she's using y'all's name. And what people didn't understand, back in the day, the paranormal community was very small. And
Mhm.
if you had one near you, they would just call you up. They'd be like, hey,
Mhm.
man, this is what's happening. And we would talk about cases like that. I
Right.
don't think people understood that. Like we had a really good line of communication. I had two groups reach out to me that was like, hey, this woman's using your name. She's in a bad part of Roanoke. She's trying to get people to come to her house. It was throwing up red flags to all these people. And I was like, we've never even met this woman. So I don't know why she's trying to get y'all to come to her house so bad. And then it was just like, most of the time, then people were a little bit, the first question was, we like to ask, are you taking any medications, things like that. And it's
Mhm.
horrible to tell people that, but that happens a lot in this field too.
Yep.
Then we had one man who was willing to pay us money, put us up in a hotel, and this was back in the day where you did not take money. Like that is a big no-no. They were like,
Mhm.
if a group takes money, then they're unreputable. You know what I'm saying? Like this was way back when. And that he was like, I'll pay for this, I'll pay for that. And then we found out he thought a demon was coming through his swim trunks. You remember that, and attacking him. So we were like, okay, we're closing this down. Not that we don't want to help them, but it got to where it was our safety. It got to
Mhm.
our part of safety because it was us too. And that we were one of the first ones to do that. And people were like, holy crap, you're not going to help the public. We were like, no, because we might end up in a body bag the way these things keep going. And then we saw more teams started doing it, and they were like, okay. And we used to tell people we like the scientific side of this. We want to pay, literally just be us, so I know there's nobody else, no other contamination, and I can study this. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yep.
That's what really got us excited, was big locations. And then with that, we saw more teams trying to do that. And then we left. And then I think there's a lot that still go out there and do home cases. But we saw some humdingers that we've had to come in behind. And you want to make sure you do a lot of research on the group you bring into your house.
Yep. Yeah. I know a couple, probably about a month ago or so. I've done several talks about how to determine if a team is reputable, whether you want to join it or whether you want to invite them to your home. And there's so many different things that you can do to determine that, instead of just finding the first group on Facebook. And
yes.
Financially, when you pay to go to a location, that's taken away, like what Misty was saying, that takes away that makes you safe. And like, you leave your house at any time, you're going to pay money for any experience.
Right.
This is entertainment. You're paying for this entertainment. Regardless, you won't always get a ghost and things like that. But
get them.
Yeah, catching them. But you're actually helping to like restore this location. So they should really look at it as a contribution to restoring historical locations, because if they don't go hunt ghosts, then this like historical place is going to get shut down and demolished, because it's way cheaper to get rid of it, something brand new, than restore what you have. So,
right. Yeah. And that's sad that it's like that.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I don't people understand also that a lot of these notorious and big locations have to start doing haunted houses. You'll notice that's a big uptick. The reason why that's a very quick amount of money that they can put into this location to keep it going. Some of them, they actually have that for the whole year. That's what they base their money off of. We know a lot of locations like that. And if you can't investigate, I think that, and you just want to have a good time out with your family, go to a haunted house at one of these places. That gives them money and keeps them lights on too.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And you're not worried about the paranormal experiences, which you may still have.
Yes.
But you're there for you're there for another reason.
Right. Exactly.
Yep. Yeah. What I'd like to start seeing corporations start doing their retreats to these haunted locations.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, because you can see how somebody would work in a stressful environment if stuff really left on you. Like if you got falling off the walls, you got this. How are they going to? Oh my gosh, that's great. You need to dub. That's your network retreat, everybody. Yeah.
I think it would be a lot of fun if my company came to me and said, hey, we're going here, whether it was Waverly or, even Key West, to see Robert the Doll. I mean, I'd be like, sure.
Yeah. People don't realize people have a fight or flight mode, and then people cool in the situation. So are you going to be one of those? You going to fight your way out of that office party, or are you just go with it? Man, that is intense. Now I just want to put people in those situations.
I got your gears turning today. So I'm just checking the comments real quick. A Facebook user wants to know if you guys have ever been to Myrtle's Plantation in Louisiana.
We haven't. We have talked about going there so many times, but we have not been to that one yet. Unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we want to so much. We went to New Orleans a bunch. I love that energy there. Oh my God. New Orleans is amazing. But I want to go to Myrtle's. I definitely do.
That's on our to-do list.
That might be our next time that we, pay to go somewhere. We are hoping, fingers crossed. But I would get extremely swampy. We're going to have to pick the fall or winter months. That's all I know.
Yeah. And I'm sure I know the answer to this question, but when it comes to going to a location, do you guys do any research on the location, or do you just go in completely blind?
Back in the day when we were honing our skills and trying to see if we even had a gift to get out there, then I would do the research. Misty would go through, figure out if she got anything, things like that. So back I would go through the tour and I would see what they would say, and then Misty would not. Now, no, I don't do it. Neither one of us do anything, because it's more of a thrill for us to go in there and how little small weird details we get. How many things we get, and then go to the person that owns it and talk to them about it. That's more exciting for us rather than doing the research, figuring out what's there. So we don't.
As investigators, that's definitely what we do. We go in. If we're hired for an event, no, definitely not. That's like a breach of a trust that we have in the location. To us, we take it very seriously. So if we're hired, we are going in there not knowing a thing. You will see us go through, and you pretty much, you get more mannerisms. I don't know. I might get mannerisms, but reenactments, things like that. We really tap into those. if we find, because on the psychic end of it, it's a completely different ball game. You want that reputability, you want that trust that these clients are when they're bringing you in.
Right.
If I don't have that, even if we work with somebody and we find out late, because this has happened to us, guys. I know, it's a humdinger here. We have worked with people, and then later on, people have come to us and said, "This psychic was Googling on the way," or "This psychic was doing this." I don't put my name beside them anymore. We do not. But if we're just doing a location, yeah, man, it's a field day for us to go in and just like try, and then we'll find that caretaker. We'll find somebody like, we need to talk to you because we need that validation. You know, you like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I mean, the research on my end, I mean, I'm not fully psychic. I know I'm an empath and I pick up on certain things, but I don't hone into that. And that's not why I'm there at the investigation. So I'm the one doing all the research behind the scenes. And when we do bring a psychic in, we don't even tell them the location.
Right.
And we don't even let them drive. We go pick them up so that way they don't have any information, including an address, until we actually get there.
That's awesome. I'd be so excited. That's what I want. I want somebody to just throw me in the back of a van and tell me and then just throw me out, and then I'm just already freaking out, you know, and tell them what
we won't even tell you when the investigation is. We'll just put a sack over your head and throw you in the back of the.
Somebody will rob me, and I'll be like, "Where are we going, guys?" I'll be happy as shit, and I'll be like, "God, what is this psycho we got now?" I'm like, waiting for this minute.
Actually, I might do that now. No, I'm just kidding.
The person, I'll be like pop out of the back like this, like a stocking cap on. I'll be like,
I've been waiting for this.
I'll be sick. And then I'm nosy as shit, so I'd probably like take it out, like lick around to see if I could taste salt. If you're taking me to the beach or something, I'll be like, human.
Oh, this is one thing I wanted to ask you earlier. You were talking about how you've talked to spirits and from the other side, and we still don't know what's on the other side. Do you think that there's a rule that they're not allowed to tell us?
Oh gosh, this is good. Okay, you go, because I work mine different. We work actually differently with the spirit communication. So you go first.
How I think of it is so Misty does more dreams and things like that. I rarely get dreams. So if I get a dream, then I know something's going on with it. But anyways, how I get it is I believe that with my...
Do you think there's somebody who says don't talk to other people, like a spirit?
Oh, well, hold on. Let me finish this thought.
Okay.
I'll get to that. Thank you. Yeah. How I believe it is my ancestors, I think they tag in and out, and I can feel certain ones that are around me at certain times, and I believe they protect and things like that. I believe at certain locations, they still have their personalities, so I believe at certain ones will actually be like, okay, don't talk to them. You don't need to tell them more information. I believe that like ghost-wise, I don't think that they could sit down and be like, okay, so when you die, this is what happens. I think that they are more personalized, as in, this is what happened to me. I don't think they're able to tell us what all goes on afterwards because, I just think that's not for us to know. I believe also I sit down with my clients when they do talk to me and they're like, well, what about this? What about this? What about that? I was like, they don't necessarily want to give you that answer and what to do next because they want you to live your life. Because if you to talk to them constantly and get all the infinite questions in the whole entire world, then you would never live your life to your own choices. You would always talk to them. You would always revert back to them. So that's the way I believe it is. I believe they can't tell you what goes on back there. And I don't, like, rule wise, I get kind of nervous about that because then I believe in God and the higher power, but I've never felt a spirit say my rules are not to tell you what goes on back here. But I believe they have some sort of code. Yeah.
We got okay, that's kind of funny you bring that up. We used to go to Major Graham's mansion, and this place, I don't even think they allow people there to go anymore, but this is one of the places we got to cut our teeth on. It was in one episode of Ghost Hunters. It was Moonshine and Madness. Yeah. Amazing location. So the slave quarters that they have did not have electricity at that time. And we were up there and we left our recorder, because that was a good thing you would do back then if you could lock down the location. I guess they still do it now, but you lock down that building and then you come back and pick it up later on and you review the evidence. And there was a spirit in there that said, do not talk to them. As soon as we went in, and I thought, man, that is crazy that they have this hierarchy. Like Ashley said, so this is how mine works a little bit. I make my ancestors or my spirit guides are at certain times, they will relay to the other spirits around, and then they relay it to me. So it's kind of like they put their feelers out, right? Mm-hmm. And on the other aspect of is this spirit is strong enough, it can go directly to me. So I think there's different layers. But when I'm doing my cleansings, because I do Appalachian cleansings, I have to interact with a lot of spirits that are attached to bodies. And a lot of times they will push back on me and they'll say, and you could feel it. It's almost like an impression, mm-hmm. because they've claimed this soul or they've claimed other entities that are around, and they're very protective. So do I believe that there's a hierarchy? Yes, I do. Do I believe that they can tell other spirits what to do? Maybe. I do know that they claim souls, and not badly. Like if you have a guardian angel, their job is to protect you. That mm-hmm. guardian angel's job is to protect you. So they're going to push back on me, and they may tell to the other ones, no, you don't interact with this one. So yeah, I do believe that there's some kind of hierarchy. Can I tell you exactly what it is? No, I have no idea. I'm not over there. All I know is when they come with big energy, I know it and I respect it. And then I just petition to it to help me with the soul that they are protecting. That's just... Mm-hmm.
We have a Facebook user question. They had mentioned earlier that they had to call a team into their home, and they're wondering, have you all been touched? They had been pushed and had a bottle thrown at their head, and that's why they called a team in.
I've been touched. Not experienced anything thrown at me or anything like that, and I've never been pushed.
No, hold on. We got stuff thrown at us in
rocks.
Moundsville. Yeah, we've had rocks thrown at us.
Never mind. Nothing as big as a bottle, but rocks. I've gotten that. Yeah. That's the one things I have had done. Usually I just try to be their ghost friends, man. I'm just out there living love. Well, not light. I don't want to say that, but I'm just out there just trying to be friends.
Yeah. Like
I don't provoke or anything like that. I try to be really
None of us. I don't think anybody who really interacts with spirits on the other side. Now, hold on. I'm going to get my butt chewed for that one. Nobody on our end, and what we're trying to do, like if we're delivering messages and stuff like that, we don't want to be mean to them. We want them to talk to us, And sometimes no matter what we do, we can't get them because they're just not going to be that spirit, that soul is not going to be personable enough to say, okay, I need you to transfer this message. But in a location, I don't think we've ever done that. Why would we do that? That's so disrespectful in our eyes. Like I wouldn't want somebody yelling at my grandma on the other side. I'd be like, leave grandma alone. Yeah. So, but as far as touched and things like that, yeah, I think we all have. I think that I
have got the shit scared out of me though. I could definitely feel when there's a presence that does not want me around. Mm-hmm. I've definitely had that. And I got the hell out of there. I have a very good get the hell out meter. Even in personal relationships, I'm like, well, time to go, man. So,
this is not for us anymore.
I do. I played mean little games. I'll tell you this. Before I knew I had anything, I was just, you normally when you're ghost hunting, you'll sit in a circle and everybody is sitting there asking questions. And I would be sitting there and I'd be in my mind, I didn't know it was anything at the time, but I'd be sitting thinking, do not touch me, do not touch me, do not touch me, touch her. And I'd in my mind constantly over and over, touch her over there. I would send Misty as bait. So I really did. In my mind, I always set up boundaries. And before I knew it was anything, I would always do the white light circle around me. Mm-hmm. And I'd be like, if you want to touch somebody, touch her over there. And I would do other people. So
one time we were in the basement. And all of a sudden we heard, because we used to do the go tell thing too, where we'd be like, there's a spirit with us. Go tell them down the way, this color or whatever. So we're in this shackled room underneath this house, Major Graham's, and they would shackle their slaves to the walls and stuff. So this was dirt ground. We were underground. It was, all of a sudden we're standing there. It's me and this other guy who is not very good on sticking his ground. We all of a sudden hear the word blue, and he's like, who's in here? He just takes off, man, just leaves me. And she's like, wow, they gave me that message. I'm like, yeah, pick it when I don't have a scared one with me. Who's running, you know? So just stuff like that. Yeah. Like, I think that but I try to push back negative energy a lot. And the more you're in here in this field, you'll learn that, like what she was talking about. If I feel like it's pretty negative, the biggest thing for me is to stand my ground and to push back, because we are a force just as like they are to be reckoned with. We have an energy. We're housed in this body, right? But they have that energy just like we do. So you can push that energy back. Definitely.
Yeah, and we've actually doing the, I guess you would call it the relay, tell spirit to do something to someone else. We loved doing that. We were doing an investigation, and it was a 4-story building, and we were in the basement. And what we believed we were communicating with was a little girl.
Yeah.
And we had told her to go bother the other investigator, who was probably 2-story. There was like a story between us. And we were like, oh, he likes interacting with, playing games and joking around, but go up there and just keep tugging on his shirt. And later, when we got done with the investigation, we all got together and sharing our experiences. He's like, yeah, something kept tugging on my shirt. And we just all died laughing.
I love that. That's the best validation, because they're just listening. They just want to. I love that part.
Yep. Yeah, definitely had a great time with that investigation. So share with us, we still have a few minutes left. Share with us your best experience.
Best experience. That's hard.
It is.
Being on this side, like getting touched and things like that. And when you kind of put yourself out there to get their experiences and their feelings, I think that really, that kicks it up a notch, because then you're like, oh God, it's like, for me, getting any messages, it's like I relive their, thoughts and things like that. But investigation wise, I would have to say it was Old South Pittsburgh. That was the one moment I had to reconsider even doing this anymore. You're locked. Well, it was back when you get locked down constantly. Well, I don't know. They got these disclaimers on there. You're not allowed to talk about this anymore. But Old South Pittsburgh, it was a very intense situation. That it was in the top stairs, and it was a very notorious spirit, and that person let their presence be known, as in it kind of made Misty feel kind of way. And then I don't know, see, like, they're really squirrely about this. I'm serious. Like, Old South Pittsburgh, this is a big dilemma. They're like, you're not allowed to talk about this and this type of other.
There was some darker stuff that happened there. That's the truth, and I know they don't want anybody to say that.
I'm gonna get sued.
No.
But one is that it was on a recorder, and we had the recorder the whole time that listened in or whatever, it was like a voice recorder. And I was like, okay, well, let's see what happened, really. Because that was an episode that happened. And when I tried to get the recorder to play it back, then it didn't have batteries in it. The spirit had taken the batteries out. And I'm like, well, we got to go pick up there and get the batteries. I got to see what's on this. And the batteries were nicely presented at the threshold of the door. And then I'm like, how the hell did the batteries get out of a closed
lock?
Thing?
It used to lock, secure on it.
So I got a drummer to try to take and shake the shit out of it to see if the batteries could come out somehow, some way, and they weren't able to get it out by just shaking the crap out of it. So to me, that was a time that we considered calling it a day and not going back into the.
Because we got so many messages there, because it was locked down back then. We had to get locked in, and we were there for 72 hours or 48 hours. So the spirits were so intense there at that time that they wore you down. All of a sudden we start getting messages for example, there was keys, and there was a janitor there that's really notorious for his keys. I could hear the keys jingling, and I was like, come on guys, I can hear it over here. And then I led them right to where this man used to live. There's no way I could have known any of that. And we started and then we realized, whoa, when we tell people about this, they were like, that's very unusual. And then we're like, whoa, wait a minute. That added to maybe we are psychic, maybe these things are happening, because Ashley was looking at this one, because we were so scared to go up there also, because we could just feel the impendingness of these spirits up there. And she looked at this girl, and we were getting ready to eat and then go up there, and Ashley just zoned out and just prophetically just start telling all this stuff that's going to happen, like you're going to get sick, this and that and the other, we're not going to go up there. All of a sudden this girl a little bit later starts throwing up and we don't get to go up there. It was so many levels of this place. Also, when we went back in there, we had an Ovilus, and even though, I mean, they have it on film and you could hear some of the things that are happening to me at the time. When we went back in, the first thing it said was scared her. It was very aware of what it was doing. So fast forward to years later, our friends like, y'all want to come back? And we were like, we got some gumption under us now. We got some education. We got some things like that. So we go back in, and of course they act like they are such a small child. Of course, that's what spirits do when they want you to. And they had all this equipment on the same bed that I had been there and stuff like that. And they were this and that and the other. And they were like, oh, you're okay. And just talking like a child. And I said, listen, this isn't a child y'all are talking to. Every piece of equipment on there lit up. They even had one of those little dog things. That thing lit up all the way around, just held it like a car horn. And then it went silent. And I was like, yeah, guys, this is not, and you could smell rotten meat when it would come into the room. Like, it was intense. And the sad thing that you remember, you were saying that they don't want us to talk about that. I'm finding so many locations that have switched hands that their history is lost too by these caretakers. They don't realize that all this other stuff happened before what happens now. But yeah.
Another thing with that one is, sorry, we got a landline. We live out in the sticks. But one thing is that we had, since it was all us, it was all just 3 or 4 of us there. And we had, I don't even remember what it was, but it was some sort of alarm. And you didn't hear the alarm going on until we would just leave it in a room because it's a hospital. So we would just leave it in a certain room and we would be walking through the hallways. And as soon as we would turn a certain hallway, you would hear that alarm going off in a certain room. Mm-hmm. And you know that the spirit knew that we were coming around the corner. So that one was the most intense that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think that the most intense, now some of the stuff we get to do is so cool. Like, we had a seance one time at this location in Illinois, was it the Mississippi River? And we were doing a seance for Halloween, and it was just amazing. And there was this old lady, I could feel her coming out of the woods. And I was like, listen, this lady's like, she's got so much intensity. She's crazy. She's not right, blah, blah, blah. And the lady who was hosting the event said, I just did a paper. I said, I know she's here. There's something documented on her. She lived in this woods a long time ago. I could feel her coming out, blah, blah, blah. And the girl was like, yeah, I just wrote a paper on her. Now, how could we have known any of this? Stuff got intense. It was like that energy went around the table, and like when it let go of me, it was on somebody else, and it was just crazy. And then because Ashley, we have been in these situations so much, she's like, we got to get going. Like we walk it off and stuff like that. So it was just crazy. So we get to have a lot of cool experiences. We're really blessed to do what we've done for so long.
Yeah. I always tell people it's great when you can do what you love.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And one more question before we start closing things down is, what do you guys feel helps you stand apart from others in the field?
We'd like to think our personality.
Definitely entertaining. No.
What do you think?
I do believe we are not, Ashley says, she's like, we are not the regular psychic. We aren't. Mm-hmm. When you see us, we aren't your regular investigator, psychic, witch. We're not. And we just try to keep it real. I think that people crave that. They don't want all the pomp and circumstance. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for pomp and circumstance sometimes, but try to keep it very real, very mm-hmm. direct. People. I think that's what it is. So it would be our personalities. Plus,
I coined some funny phrase. It's Appalachian class.
Yeah.
That's a heavy statement.
Appalachian elegance.
There you go. Appalachian elegance.
We try to break
it. Yeah. Vanessa Lynn actually says you guys have great energy.
Oh, so, yeah. We try, honey. We try.
It's an off day. Normally we're up. You got me up early. Nice.
You don't get us together. So when it was during the day that your show was, we were like, hot darn, we could do this. Yeah. So we're Honored to be here, honey.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you guys for being here. We did have one question pop up in the chat real quick. The Facebook user says, what do you think about sensitive kids? My grandmother read for people from all over, sometimes used regular playing cards, did healings, was the town midwife, etc. I worked on cases, and my granddaughter, when she was about 2 and is high functioning autistic and wouldn't go into my stepson's room. He had cerebral palsy. She loved him, but I took her in his room one time, not thinking, and she started shaking, bad screaming, and she hurried out of the room. Why do you think that happened?
I think that it's more empathic. I believe that autistic are like the most intelligent ever. Like they pick up on things that people normally don't. I do believe that they are more gifted and they're more prone to be gifted. I am very touchy about children. I do read cards for children and I do like mentor children, but it's hard when a child has a gift and they're younger, because I've also been in a situation where a kid, they really put this child on a pedestal, and this child may have gifts, but there was so much pressure on that child to always be right. She took advantage of that, and the whole town had to pretty much drown a pond to try to look for a body that wasn't there. So it's good to personally shelter them and pick someone that can be a mentor to them, make sure that they go through all the steps and, make sure that they are a good fit for them to mentor them, because it would be a very rough road. There's a chance that they will see more spirits like in their house and things like that. It can really mentally function them or, disturb them sometimes. So you really have to have the correct person that can handle that, like as in they're knowledgeable about dealing with children and that they can guide them on the certain path. Because I hate to admit it, there's a lot of crazies out here that could take advantage of it. So that it's really touchy subjects with children with me.
Yeah.
But I was a child that had night terrors all my life, and we talked about, we didn't even discuss some of the things we saw as a child. We just kept it till we kind of came out. We were like, wow, you saw that too. I think the first thing to do is make your child feel comfortable 100%. Make sure that they understand that, hey, this is okay. It's not something to be ashamed of, because then what happens is the child starts to have a really big dilemma of, am I crazy, or am I not seeing things correctly? And then they're trying to sort out if they're even on the right level. And then it'll give that child more stress in that way too. So I say that, you just listen to them and you let them know it's all right. And everybody's unique in their own beautiful ways. But as far as what she's talking about right there, with the child and what do we think that the situation might be, there could be many facets to that, many facets. For example, a lot of other cultures other than Americans believe, they don't get into so many aspects of this, but a lot of times people believe if you have a sickness, that also comes, sometimes spirits can come to that sickness. So if that child goes in there and is able to see some of these spirits that are, added to this sickness on top of there, especially somebody who is battling maybe some issues of their mental cognites and stuff like that, there could be spirits there to help it. There could be spirits that just come along with different aspects of that. And that child going in there, if they are gifted, could definitely see that, and it would scare them. And then they were like, oh man, they're trying to process it themselves. There's so many different facets of that. I believe that when somebody gets to the point of sickness, there's many different elements. So I think if she's reacting in that way, she's seeing something, or he's seeing something. So just to back them up, just to give them, don't let them think that they're crazy. But there has to be a line as a parent. You understand, okay, are they gifted, or are they processing something that's making them think certain ways? So you gotta, it's just that fine line.
But they get like protection, as in, like salt and black onyx or snowflakes on obsidian or things like that. Something to definitely protect them and things like that. Like even, and let them know that's what it's for, so they can put their intent on it to protect them with anything that might come to them that's more negative. So.
Yep, exactly. One thing I always tell parents to do when they're having trouble with their kids, in addition to using the crystals, is if they have stuffed animals, put the stuffed animals up in the room as a barrier. Because if the kids believe those animals will protect them, they
Yeah.
put, their focus on that, and that helps a lot.
That's a smart way. I
Yes,
didn't think
that
about that.
is.
Yep. Okay, so we're starting to run out of time. Do you guys want to take a moment to tell everybody where they can find you and any upcoming projects you guys might have?
Sure.
Awesome.
Gosh, I feel like we always got a project.
Yes. We have been on the Season of the Witch. That is a documentary, the 2022. So feel free to watch that. That has a little background of witches. I would say Appalachian because we sound Appalachian as crap on there, but it's background of witches and a little bit in our personal life. So that's a fancy movie. We have a book out that is the
Appalachian Conjuring.
Well, I was handing it off on you.
Oh, I thought. Yeah. Season of the Witch you can get on Amazon Prime. That is something that it was really an honor. These guys came in, they were like, you know what, we need 4 witches, and we do show our Appalachian aspect because we are different being Appalachian witches than a lot of other witches, because it is so like a melting pot in these mountains. So we did get to show that aspect, and it's beautiful. We also have co-wrote a couple books. Our latest and the one we're most proud of is Appalachian Conjuring, which is just a spell book, and it shows a little bit of history on these mountains. Granny women, which not a lot of people understand that, but it's actually the lineage that's passed down of the knowledge through these really strong midwife women that, now you're having this new line that's standing out that's saying, hey, we might be from these mountains, but we got a lot of moxie and we got a lot of pride and strength going forward. So that, and there is about 100, there's 100 spells in that. So Appalachian Conjuring, we love that part. There's superstitions, lores, and stuff like that. Coming up, some of the things that we got some markets and stuff, but one of the biggest things that I think we're getting ready to go to is Troy Taylor's Haunted America. I think we're going to do some gallery readings there. We always have a great turnout there. And people can come by and get regular readings and stuff, but we will be hosting a lecture there and a gallery reading, which if you've never seen a gallery reading, they're amazing. Not only because sometimes you don't get a reading personally yourself if there's a lot of people there, but you get to watch it unfold, and it's really, really riveting. We're going to be going to Michigan Con, which is a big con, and we're really excited about that. And of course, this fall, me and Ashley will be diving into another book that we're going to be putting out, and it's more about our lineage and some of the stories on the roads that we have. And other than that, do you know of anything that we got? Oh, how can they find us, Ashley?
We also have magic classes that are coming up. We do teach classes in magic, and that's usually at the Nickerson Sneed. You can find us on social media, the Conner Sisters, TikTok, and our website, the Conner Sisters.
Yeah, pretty easy.
Perfect. And I'll make sure I share all that information on the Facebook pages as well, so people can find you after the show is over in case they missed that. So if you're watching, make sure you pay attention to our Facebook page, and we'll get that information out there. So.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was a joy.
Yes, definitely had a great time. I love your energy too. It's amazing. You don't see that in the field too often.
No, that's why we can't wear black shirts all the time.
Well, I'm in bright blue.
See,
so.
There you go.
Yeah, it's funny. We filmed a documentary, and they wanted us to wear black, and I had the black cover up, but I had a pink shirt on underneath it.
Aww.
So you gotta always have a little bit of color in there wherever you go. But thank you guys again, and definitely we'll have to have you on again soon. So I'll be in touch.
We would love
it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, that was an absolutely amazing interview. Super excited to have them on here, and I'm definitely going to be reaching out to them for future episodes. And I think I'm going to reach out to them for our Ghost Education 101 show on Ouija boards. I think they would be perfect for that. Definitely could use their energy on that show. But again, guys, thank you for tuning in today. Super excited to have you here as well as my guest. It was a great conversation. Thank you guys for asking questions in the comments. You guys know you could always find my shows on WLTK-DB Talk Radio. I'll be posting links later today and throughout the week on past shows as well as this show, so you can catch the replay. And if you guys have any questions, you know how to reach me, and it's at Exploring the Paranormal Show or at Dr. Heather Heather Leigh, and I am always here to help you guys. So thank you again for your time. Have a fabulous week, and I hope you guys enjoy these summer months coming up. So I will see you guys next week when we have Natalie Crater on as a guest. Have a great week.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.